So here we are. Sorry, let me start again, and I'm sorry for this. I think the technical glitch has been, I need to come across and learn from it too. Yeah. So this is emotional intelligence and goal setting and the role of your emotions in achieving your goals. At the outset, I actually told you that maybe you have heard me, but you haven't seen this. This is the real you. In psychology, we say that you have a real self and you also have your ideal self. The real self is all the qualities, values, and characteristics which I carry with me now. And the ideal self is what I imagine myself to be, the bigger me. We humans are meaning making machines, and we derive meaning out of all the moments of our life in relation to people around us and our surroundings. Our basic human emotional needs are growth and contribution, because of which we strive to be better every day to become better versions of ourselves. Now, this is your real self and this is the ideal self. When the gap between what I am today and what I expect of myself is large or very big, then we generally experience frustration and anxiety. When the gap between the real self and the ideal self in terms of qualities, achievement, and everything, how I see myself, when it is very similar, like when it is very congruent, then I'm at peace with myself and I'm content. Thanks again for joining me as you are investing your time in making yourself a better person. And I'm sure that you'll learn something out of this session. So let's move forward. Now, the learning outcomes is why emotional intelligence, the definition of emotional intelligence, the components of emotional intelligence, and 3 ways to improve your emotional intelligence, and summary and takeaway. These are the things which we are going to cover in the next 2 hours. It is going to be a bit tightly packed because there are so many activities which you will be doing, and a lot of self reflection, and a lot of soul searching which you will be getting into. So please welcome and be ready with a book and a pen so that you can start working on yourself. Then comes why emotional intelligence. In the last 20, 30 years, I think from 90s, emotional intelligence has really grown as subject. People started understanding that we humans are just not intelligent beings where we can be measured by our IQs, but there's something called emotional factor which makes us better, where we can relate to others and derive meaning out of life. And it is also found that people with greater emotional intelligence are very good in keeping their relationships and are also very efficient in their work. So why emotional intelligence? To increase chance of happiness through increased self-awareness, better emotional regulation, clarity in thought and action, improved relationships due to increased empathy. I'm sure each one of you know that empathy is nothing but getting into somebody's shoes, and openness and acceptance to change. These are the things we'll reflect on today. And people with greater emotional intelligence are known to be more adaptable. They have a higher sense of self awareness and they know their context. They know the relevance of them, their emotions, and the context. At the end of this session, we shall explore the role of emotional intelligence and setting goals and achieving them. Now let's get to emotional intelligence and what is the definition means. Like emotional intelligence refers to the ability to observe your emotions and to respond effectively to produce the behavior you want. Some researchers say that emotional intelligence is inborn and some say that you can learn it. Whereas, like I personally feel that once you have an open mind to learn, we are always getting better and emotional intelligence can be learned. Because when I see my own personal journey, I see that there were so many times I just kept on adding value to respect people or so many areas which we'll be discussing soon. Now, components of emotional intelligence. Like there are 5 components here if you see them. Self-awareness, it is knowing yourself. Self-management, it is knowing your emotions and how to manage them. There's a saying that everybody can be angry, but being angry with the right person at the right time in the right amount is self-regulation or self-management. And you all know that you need motivation, and I'm sure you all have it, because choosing a Sunday afternoon 12 to 2 where it is time for you to eat lunch and then enjoy, you have come here because there's an internal motivation that you wanted to learn something. And empathy, I'm sure you'll understand this better because I'm not a techie savvy person. And then the glitches which were there as my audience, I'm sure you'll understand it and you'll just take it as that's okay, sort of. And relationships. How do we maintain good relationships? What is your role in having a good family relationships and a social relationship? These are the things we will be talking about. Now there are 4 aspects to this. Emotional intelligence seen differently. There are 5 components, but then how am I going to learn the self about this emotional intelligence? This is about me and my self-awareness, about my awareness in terms of empathy and my emotions and understanding their emotions, that is social awareness. And then comes self-management, managing my emotions, to relationship management. This is not about manipulating people or managing some people. This is about understanding people, helping them understand themselves, and also helping improve our relationships. This is how the whole emotional intelligence goes. Now, please look into this picture. What do you see here? So just reflect on this. What does this picture mean to you? I see somebody is looking into the mirror, but what does this picture mean to you? Just look at it. And then this is an activity I want you to do. So who are you? When I say who are you, I am. This is just an example which is given to you. Please write down your qualities. There's an example set of words which are given there, just for you to be triggered in some thoughts. And I am a, write the roles you play. As I told you and promised you, this is going to be a session where you're going to reflect on yourself. Before you start, if you want to do this, just let me take you through some breathing so that you will have clarity and you can start from here and now. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, breathe out. Take a deep breath in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Last time. Just breathe in, breathe out. Now take 2 minutes or 3 minutes time to write what you are in terms of qualities, and I am a, what are the roles you play. Just please reflect on them. You have 3 minutes from now. sure you haven't written something like this for quite some time. Time to explore your inner self. Now think, when you come across a person with the qualities you have just described, would you like to be friends with him or her? And would you like to be their friends for a lifetime? Do you see any qualities that can be improved and roles that can be delivered better to make a better version of yourself? What would that be? Just think over it. It's all self reflection. I'm unable to go to the next slide. Yep. Now, this is one more activity. What I want you to do. Please write down what is important to you now, in 3 months from now, and in your lifetime. What is important to you at this point in your life? What is that you're doing? Look in terms of your family, your values and learnings. And in 3 months from now, how is it relevant to you in 3 months from now? And for life, what do you think is important in your life in general? These are the things I just want you to reflect for next 2 minutes. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? What is important to you? Factual, truthful, and as is. So what is important to you? Who are you now? Where do you want to go? What is important to you? Factual, truthful, and as is. You don't have to share any of these things with me because it's a self-reflection thing. And now we'll go to the definition of what we were doing. It is about self-awareness. People with high emotional intelligence are usually very self-aware. So basically, they understand themselves and they don't let their feelings rule them because they understand. They are confident because they trust their intuition and don't let their emotions get out of control. As we started, it's very difficult to be angry at someone in the right amount, at the right time, at the right place. In the same way, people with self-awareness, they know how to control their emotions and they know how to control their feelings. And to have successful relationships, it is considered that you are very, very self-aware. And yesterday I was attending a webinar where I realized and I came to know that 93% in polls, there was a poll which was taken on self-awareness, and many people, 93% of the people said that they were self-aware and 7% of the people said that they were not sure. But actually people who said that they were self-aware were not self-aware at all. So that was the statistics, and I was surprised to listen to it yesterday. So if we are considering ourselves self-aware, we'll keep checking ourselves. So let's go ahead. Lunchtime and nice choco cookies there. So what does this picture mean to you? Especially for dieters. I love to have those cookies, but oh, I just started my dieting plan. I don't want to let go of it. But these cookies are so yummy. So did you come across feelings like that? That's one thing. And one more thing is, hey, Kamakshi, this is lunchtime, and then you're deviating, you're bringing our emotions to something else. I understand. But then those cookies they really look good. Then I thought this is the right picture for our self-regulation. Sometimes we feel like eating, but then I'm hungry, I want to eat. But then you have signed up for this class and you know that you can sit here and like with Zoom call, you can sit and eat in your place too. That's one thing. But one more thing is you have chosen this session over food. I think that also is a part of self-regulation. So thanks for that. And when I spoke to you, whatever I spoke just now, just look into yourself. Close your eyes. Look into yourself. What was your facial expression? How did you feel inside? Just look into your body. How does it feel? Just make a note of it. At this moment, when I'm talking to you, or when I spoke to you about the cookies, what was your facial expression? How did you feel inside? Your stomach, in your body. Please make a note of it. Now, all of you, just give me a big smile, please. I want each one of you to give me a big smile, please. I'll be looking for some smiles here. Or yeah, if your video is turned off, that is okay. But still, I'm expecting you to have some real big smile on your face. Thank you, Petra. Thank you, Max. Thank you. Have a big smile on your face, please. It's so nice to see you all. Yes? And with this smile, see what is happening in yourself. Just look, feel. What are your thoughts now? How are you feeling in your body? Just write those feelings down. How does it feel on the top of your skin when you feel so happy and when you're smiling? Thank you all for turning on the video. It's good to see you all. It's quite motivating. So the reason why I asked you to smile is because you know that when you're smiling, think of the worst thing in your life. Just with a smile on your face, let's continue this experiment. Put a big smile, smile, and think of the worst thing that has happened in your life. Smile and think. The moment you started thinking, the smile is gone. The idea is to put the smile on and think of the worst thing. It's not possible. The moment you think of negative things, your physiology changes, your smile vanishes. The moment you thought that, yes, Kamakshi, with a smile, I actually thought of something worst in my life. Nana, it's not possible. You haven't realized that your smile has gone away and there's a change in your face. The way your brain works is that it has gateways. So once you're entering into a positive gateway, you're happy, there's a smile on your face, your shoulders are open, and you're just happy being yourself. The gateway to the negative resourceful side of the brain is totally closed, where you're pessimistic, where you're threatened, you're fearful of the future. The moment you enter into the phase of negativity, where you're depressed, where your resources are low, your shoulders cringe, there's no smile on the face, there's a lack of confidence, because the positive side of the gateways are closed in the mind. So we try to figure it out. Can I smile and get better? That is one definite thing. The moment, because I cannot control my thoughts, but I have learned a technique that the moment I smile, the negative thoughts in my mind can be controlled, because with a smile, I cannot think of negative things. This is just one way how we can regulate our emotions. This is just one technique. So I have something called PALM here. Just association, PALM, your physical association, your attention, your language, and the meaning. So we talked about a smile. So there's a physical association of a smile. And the moment you paid attention to it, you have seen that the language which you were speaking, oh, I'm happy. The moment you said happy, the physiology in the body is changing. So what is the meaning coming out of it? That means you're happy. The language spoken is something positive. The moment you constantly spend time in thinking of what can go worse, you are entering into the mental state where it is all negative, and your brain can produce as many scary stories as you want and keep you in that state. So this is where we are trying to learn about our emotions, how you feel. Yeah, what are these emotions? If we think about it, intensified feelings are emotions. And it is also said that when you write a journal of attitude of gratitude, if you write it thrice a day, like three things for which you are very thankful in a day, just three things for which you are thankful. It could be as simple as, I'm very thankful that I woke up, and thanks for the faith I believe in, thanks to the master, thanks to God, whichever language you want to use. The moment you say thank you, there are chemicals in the body which are produced, and they take you to a positive resourceful state in your mind. This act and repetition of attitude of gratitude actually creates positive states, and this is nothing but reinforcing the positivity in us. So people will generally ask me, they usually ask me in my live sessions, Kamakshi, does it mean that just staying positive all the time does not bring negative events into our life? No, there are so many things which are out of our control that we all know. But then when I try to work on attitude of gratitude, when I know that I'm going into depression or when I'm going into the negative resourceful states, because I'm becoming self-aware, what happens is that I generally smile or say thanks for the things which I have. They always said, isn't it? Count your unseen blessings. So the moment you started, then the brain starts showing you various ways to get over the negative situations which you're facing rather than giving up early. This is the reason why attitude of gratitude is very, very important, and it improves your confidence and it helps you overcome negative situations. Now, if you can see there, it is again the definition of self-regulation. As I told you, people with self-regulation, they can control their emotions and impulses. Do I want to shout at someone? May not be. Just say, stay calm, breathe in, come to here and now. People with self-regulation, they have characteristic of thoughtfulness and they're ready to change because they're open-minded. And the moment you're in positive, resourceful state, you are ready to take that a bit of unknown risk too. And the integrity, and they also have the ability to say no, that is being assertive. You don't let someone take you for granted because you know that you don't like someone to take you for granted, and those feelings of relationship don't make you full. And you understand your emotions and you want to say no. No is a no. And for me, integrity is something what one does when nobody is watching. The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Responsibility is also a part of self-regulation. The state or fact of being accountable or having the duty to deal with something. When you look at self-regulation, integrity and responsibility are the two factors which are very important. Now, this is like a homework which you can take with you. What is my personal integrity and what's my personal responsibility? So this is very similar in terms of your qualities which you're writing down, your qualities and the roles you play. Like, you know that you cannot make others happy. That is one thing which we know. But doing our thing to the best of our abilities increases our awareness and also self-regulation, and it gives confidence in the acts we do because we have taken responsibility for our acts too. So we have moved from self-awareness, looking into ourselves, our emotions and what we are, and self-regulation, how to stop or how to regulate our emotions. And when I'm in a negative mode, how can I come back? That is, one is palm, which we have understood, and a smile. Now, what does this mean to you? This slide mean to you? Take a minute's time. Please write a list of things what you feel about this slide. Your own personal meaning. I hope you have written it. In general, things will turn out okay in life, despite setbacks and frustrations. How do you learn to deal with this? How do you grow out of it? So this is nothing but get in line and stay in line. And this is nothing but consistent persistence too. So what are you talking about, Kamakshi? This is motivation and resilience. There are times like we have a lot of motivation to do things, and sometimes in spite of our best trials, we cannot motivate ourselves. It could be because of the stress. It is just stress is nothing but a fear of failure. and future loss. That is what is stress. The reason for stress is fear of failure or the losses which we are going to incur in the future. Overwhelmed, sometimes the fear is so much that there's a lot to do and I won't be able to achieve it. These are the things which stop us. Again, it is our thinking patterns if you look at it. Now, I want you to come back to here and now. Let's breathe in again. Just this time thrice. To come back to here and now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Gently open your eyes. When you smiled, but you cannot move from your place, you still feel demotivated. You don't want to get up, but don't sit in that place. Let's do this activity. The activity is, I'll be counting from 7 to 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I say shift. When I say shift, please feel free to jump from your chair or just walk away from your chair or shout or sing or do something. But just bring that physiological change, because this is how we bring motivation. We want to shift from this not so motivated state to a different state. This either we could go for a walk, but then now you're in a session. I can't send you for a walk, please. So stay with me. And then the moment I say 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shift. Shift your position the way you want. Some of you can jump, some of you can shout, it's up to you. Whatever suits you, just do it, right? Let's do it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shift. Again, you can try some. Yep. You could have shouted, you would just get into a laughter, anything. But then the idea is, when you're not motivated, the way you can motivate yourself is shifting your position. That's the reason people say go for a walk, don't sit there, just go do something else, move away from what you're doing now, so that you can motivate yourself and you can shift your physiology. Every time you shift your physiology, your mind moves. There is an emotional mind and there's a thinking mind, and there's something called an intelligent mind which knows how to balance exactly your emotions and thinking, and we are trying to work there. This is how it's going to be. The second thing is setting your sights. The topic is about emotional intelligence and connecting to our setting goals, right? It's about understanding my emotions. Okay. And people say, like, in general, it is known that we can set six various kinds of goals. There are six various kinds of goals. One is for your physical body in terms of health and a good physique and whatever you want. However beautiful you want with and agile you want to be with your body, you can have a goal for your body. And for mind, you can keep learning something. You can work for certifications which help you for your work, or just for pleasure. There are people who study because it makes them feel good. For some, it could add to their professional life too. So do something. And people love to work on their relationships. This is one area. And where you want to achieve some goals in terms of your soul or spirit. What is that you want to do? You can work on your finances in terms of investing and savings, your work and career. These are the various aspects of where people can set their goals. Now, okay, this is just a good idea of setting goals, where you're working on your body, mind, emotional self, and your soul or spirit. Now I'll take you through something. All of you, please stand up. Please stand up. Yes. And stand next to the chair wherever you're standing. Just stand next to the chair wherever you are and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Stand next to the chair or wherever your computer, laptop, wherever it is, please stand. Come out of your place and close your eyes and draw an imaginary circle around you. Draw an imaginary circle around you. And the moment you enter into that circle, know that you will exactly know how to achieve your goal. Gently close your eyes. And now, think about that one goal which you want to achieve. I have told you there are 6 kinds of goals. And I know there are many participants. Everyone's goal will be different. That is okay. So gently close your eyes and draw a huge imaginary circle. That is your most resourceful state. The moment you enter into that state, you know exactly how you feel once you achieved your goal. So imagine that you have achieved your goal. How would you look? How do you feel when you have achieved your goal? And what will the most important people in your life tell you when you have achieved your goal? Connect with yourself and see the emotions which you feel as you have achieved that goal. Connect to yourself. And where are the emotions coming? Is the happiness in the heart or the stomach? Look at the energy flow. You must be feeling ecstatic because you have achieved something and everyone is saying good things. And they're surprised that you have achieved a long pending goal which you have stopped for some reason. How do you feel about it? Please think in detail how you feel, the smile on your face, and the way you say thanks to people when you have achieved the goal. You know that you're very, very happy in that state. Remember that, remember this state. Stay there for a moment. You have achieved your goal. It could be a wonderful body, or it could be a financial success. It could be anything which you wanted. You're very happy. Feel the feelings. See where the emotions are. See how people are complimenting you and the way you're graciously accepting all the compliments. Now gently open your eyes. Come back to your seat. And please write down what you have thought in that positive state. This is one more exercise which helps you bring your energies back so that you can achieve, you can bring yourself into that emotional state where you know you can achieve what you put your mind to. So once you're ready, please write down how you have felt doing this exercise. You have 2 minutes time now to finish this. Now, once you're ready, please look into the screen. Rules for setting your sights. Know what your goal or target is. What is that you really want to achieve? Describe it in detail. What will I feel when I achieve my goal? What are the reasons I'm doing this? Am I doing this to please someone? Trust me, you will not want to do it for long. If something motivates you because you like it, you will surely do it. Make sure it excites you. When I say that, please take it with a word of caution, because the moment I make you do the exercise, you might be excited to do something. But then, is your motivation lasting? You need to check yourself. So you need to draw a circle around you and see if this has the same intensity as it had today. If it is, that means that goal is for you. Know what you need to do and do it. That's all. So these are the rules which we need to go through, because we are connecting with our inner selves to know, why am I doing this? So how does it help me in the long run? Does it add value? So these are the few things which you need to look into. Do I like it? Or am I doing it for others? So you have 2 minutes from now to, I think 2 minutes is less, maybe 3 minutes. Please write down your answers here, and then I'll take you through the next. Thirty more seconds. Yes, there we go. Remember the palm technique which I told you? What is the language I'm using? What is the language I'm using to talk to myself? That's so important. I want each one of you to read this poem for yourself. It is quite a motivating one. Most of the time, we do not know what language to use when we are really low. It is the language which creates physiology. If you're talking positive to your inner self, there's one who is listening to you all the time, isn't it? So when you give compliments to yourself, when you thank yourself to the higher ideal self, and when you talk positive, then you become optimistic and then you are motivated enough to achieve your goals. This is how it works. And I'm sharing this poem because I like it personally. And sometimes, like, people tell you, don't read some literature because it will spoil your brain and it will not let you move towards your goal. For example, if you're into spirituality, some of the things may not be taking you towards the goal, and some things may be moving you away from your values. So people suggest you that be on the path. To be on the path, read the literature which helps you be aware of yourself, your emotions, and your consciousness, and you know that you're growing. That's the only reason, because whatever you feed to your brain keeps working on it. And it's always something like being self-aware is a way we keep checking ourselves. Am I moving towards my values or away from my values? Am I building myself towards that great ideal self which I see myself as, or as am I moving myself away? So I hope you're done reading this now. So it says that people with very high emotional intelligence are very usually motivated. Yes, with my little bit of self awareness, which we are learning, now we know how to motivate ourselves. And they focus on here and now. And that was all about our activity of here and now, doing 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shifting ourselves, breathing, and doing what we need to do now. It is the fear of the past or the future which troubles us now. So take a deep breath in and then come to what you're doing now. And with all the resources you have now, how do you go forward? Don't think about what if something goes wrong. With the resources you have now, how far can you stretch yourself? For that, I was asking you to be factual and as is. And being in the line and being consistent in your persistence is all that which takes us to the goal. A strong will is one thing one of my spiritual masters has said, that a strong will and a goal, and if you have set your goal and you believe in yourself and a strong will, it will take you there. So maybe these are the things which we need to learn to develop a strong will. Now comes this picture. I have a smile on it looking at it. So what does this picture mean to you? Please write it down. Take 30 seconds. I think you don't need more than that, because these pictures are so self-explanatory and they make meaning. They make a lot of meaning. What meaning do they give to your life, to you? See, again, we jumped into self-awareness. So what does this family mean to me, Kamakshi? Okay. You need to tell me what the family means to you. What relationships mean to you? Next, there's a questionnaire here. This is rating yourself now. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, please score yourself. You don't have to tell me your scores, but I know that you will mark yourself well. And we know that anything less than 50%, we need to work towards it. If you're somewhere on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're somewhere between 8 and 9, fantastic, you're doing a great job. If you're between 5 to 10, like less than 5, I think we have a long way to go, and it's good. It keeps us busy. How good are you at listening? How often do you see others' perspectives? How often do you appreciate others? How often do you say sorry when you go wrong? How often do you smile when people are around? So please mark yourself. The whole idea of this emotional intelligence is the moment you thought about self-awareness, think of the people whom you think have a lot of self-awareness. When we thought about self-regulation, it's about us and others too. So name two people whom you have seen with a lot of self-regulation. When you talk about motivation, name those people whom you see are very motivated, irrespective of their circumstances. Because these are the people who are moving very strongly towards their ideal selves, isn't it? So, who are these people? And why do we respect them so much? And when it comes to relationships, think of all those significant others in your life who are very good with all this and where you know that we can work on it. This is the way we are looking into ourselves and looking at others who are good with those skills. And what is that which I need to learn? The moment you say, I want to learn, all the resources are brought to you. You just have to say, hey, I want to learn. And then you must have seen how your subconscious works all the time, bringing exactly what you have asked for. It looks like a coincidence, but then that is nothing but tuning to the nature, right? That you ask and it's given. So you're connected. There you go. It is easy to talk and like people with good social skills. It's another sign of high emotional intelligence and also social intelligence. These people with strong social skills are typically team players, which you know, and you must be knowing people who are very good with conflict resolution, who can manage disputes, who are excellent communicators, and then who are masters in maintaining and developing relationships. You know them, name them. Just 30 more seconds, I'll stay there for you. Now comes this. So please think of all those people who have shown these feelings towards you. People who are caring, people who are empathetic, and people exactly, those people who understand exactly what you're going through. You don't have to tell them anything about yourself, but the moment they see you, they know what is happening in your life. So think of those people and thank them. One is we have attitude of gratitude in practice. And then what is that quality? These people may not be highly educated. It could be your grandma, it could be your aunt, it could be your school teacher. You have come across these people who were there for you, who help you in your growth. They just know exactly how it feels when you're going through something, and you don't have to use words for them. So how many people are you that person, the go-to person? This is about me and this is about others. This is about knowing my emotions, and it is helping others know their emotions and building relationships. This entire session, what we are doing, is about me and others and me, and how I interpret my relation to the world around me. As I told you, we are meaning making machines. We love making meaning out of this life and purpose out of this life. Think of these people who are very affectionate, who are empathetic. Now, again, the first picture has come where I have set a context. The emotional needs we have. This is our real self, and this is our ideal self. The emotional needs we have are towards growth and contribution. We human beings love to grow. So we are always looking for growth and contribution. Growth in terms of getting a better body, intellectually getting better, spiritually getting better. It could be anything. And we find meaning in contribution. Contribution does not have to be financial assistance all the time. Even that helps too. But it doesn't equal to money all the time when it is giving and contribution. Your emotional support, your presence, your nearness, your acceptance, and your understanding of others' perspective is all that matters in relationships. And we are social animals. We cannot live without people. We always have a sense of belonging. Sometimes it feels that, oh, some people only learn and grow. But then it is in human nature to share too. If someone is intellectually growing, it is their inherent need to share that intelligence or their learnings. And giving and contribution, as I told you, it may not be monetary, but just being there for people is all that matters a lot to us. And in this process, we start giving ourselves. It is basic human nature to give and to contribute. And in this process, we start working towards our real self and ideal self. The more you give and the more you contribute, your ideal self becomes bigger and bigger. So this is the journey we started 1.5 hours ago, 1.5 hours exactly, because we are trying to understand ourselves, because we want to become a better versions of ourselves. Now, this is the second most important element of emotional intelligence. First thing is I need to be aware of myself, and the second one comes to be empathy. These people are really good at recognizing the feelings of others, even when they are not obvious, as I told you. These people avoid stereotyping and judging too quickly, and they live their lives in a very open, honest way. So again, this is about you and the people whom you know in your life, whom you respect a lot for their empathy. Make a note of them and thank them mentally. And then you feel this happiness coming, welling up from your heart. Then that's an emotion which is coming. You see, we are just working with emotions all through. Just take a moment. Yeah. Now we work with roles of emotional intelligence in setting and achieving our goals. Right? We'll go straight away into it. The typical challenges, I'm just going to read. I thought of losing 10 kilos last year, but did not do so much. Yeah, I think. Does it sound familiar to you all? It sounds very, very familiar to my own self. So yeah, this is one thing. I thought I will learn music, but I did not even join the class. Of course, many of us are there. I thought I'll do my homework at the beginning of the holiday, so that I can enjoy rest of the vacation, but it did not do it until today. Sounds familiar? When you were young or your kids doing this? Yep. I aimed at going abroad and settling there, but never achieved that goal. I thought of retiring at 40, but now I'm 50 and still working. Now, why do we often fail in even attempting to achieve these goals? Is it because of our procrastination? Many people think that procrastination is one of the reasons, and sometimes we label ourselves lazy. I don't think it's laziness. We don't achieve the goals because we are not motivated by the goals we set for ourselves. It may not be to our liking, or it is not important. Sometimes we said new year resolution, why do I need to wait till new year? I can start today and this moment. But you know it because it's not important to you. It doesn't make meaning. You don't like to hit the gym and you don't believe that that is the only way to lose weight. Okay, just find some other alternatives. We are people driven with emotions, very strong likes and dislikes. Because of these strong likes and dislikes, sometimes what does not appeal to our inner self, we don't work towards it. It is not that the goal is not important. Maybe you're not connected to it. So let's look into this. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Every time we have taken, like, I personally take lots of sessions in terms of smart goals and all. In spite of setting smart goals, many people do not achieve their goals. Why? As I told you, because we are emotional beings and we are carried away by our likes and dislikes, which are very strong. We love something very dearly and we dislike something to the way of disgust too. Like, do you know people saying that I don't like banana or I hate banana? The banana hasn't done anything to you really, but there's no reason for people to say I hate banana. That means it brings some emotions in person, right? So the same way, when you're setting goals, it's very, very important for you to see whether it is important for you and you like it. It's very rare, and it's only few lucky people who have what they like and what is important to them as a part of life and in finding meaning. I would like to share this with you. When your goal is very important and also that you like it, you will work towards it. Easy. Taking a session, to be very honest, I love talking to people. So taking a session, initially it brings a lot of butterflies in my stomach because that performance anxiety is always there. But I like it, so I jump in, I take the pain, that little bit of pain, but I like it and I want to do it, so I do it. And there's something which I'll give you an example. I like it and it's not important to me. Example, pizza. We all like pizza or burger or whatever. I like it, but is it important in the long run? Does it do good to me in the long run? May not be, but then it's easy to eat. It's an instant pleasure, so we just jump into it. There are things like which is very important, but I may not be liking it. So this is where we try to find ways by doing what we will achieve those goals. Example, for me to be very healthy, we all need to exercise, isn't it? That's common. Like, you have a body, it's a machine, you need to take care of it. You take care of an iPhone, you take care of your car, you take care of your house, and you need to take care of this body, which gives you the rest of the things. Understood. But exercising, please give me a break. Going to the gym, no, I don't like it. So what else can you do? Maybe you can do intermittent fasting, you can do yoga, you can do Pilates, you can just walk, but do something, because the goal of having a purposeful and healthy living is more important, because that's something which brings meaning into your life and meaning to the people in your life too. This is how we set goals, and what we don't like and what is not important, we'll never work towards it anyway. So, like, just please go through this. What exactly do I want to achieve and why do I want to achieve? These are the questions you need to ask before setting goals and connecting your goals with yourself, going through the resourceful circle which you have drawn for yourself, feel the emotion there and move towards. This is how we do goal setting, connect with it emotionally, and see whether it is worth achieving it. And when are you going to achieve it? It needs to be time bound. Here I'll give you an example. Like an engineering graduation, it takes 4 years just for me to make the SMART understandable. So this engineering course, if I say computer engineering, this I'm talking in terms of Indian education. So just for you to understand. Say I want to be a computer engineer. So it's a 4 years of graduation. I'm specific that I want to be a computer engineer. And then measurable. There are 42 subjects and 7 semesters. So 7 6 are 42. In each semester, I'll be learning 6 subjects. So it is measurable. Is it attainable? Most of the people in the country are finishing it from the ages of 18 to 22 or 18 to 23. But then it is attainable. Yes. Is it reasonably stretched? Yes. Is it realistic? Yeah, it's a worthwhile goal if someone who wants to achieve it. For me, with this age, engineering may not be the right thing, but just giving you an example. So is it realistic for someone who wants to achieve it? Yeah, if they are in that age group, or if they want to do some double degree, it's up to them. But is it realistic? Yes. Is it time bound? It is a 4-year course. It is time bound. So does it fit into all this? Yeah. And people whoever, like students whoever want to join an engineering graduation, once all the SMART aspects of it are covered, then they can go and pursue. That is how SMART goals work. In the same way, set a goal for yourself and ask all these questions, and then look into, connect with it, and see whether this is important to you or not. If it is not important, you don't have to do it. If it is important but you dislike it, find other ways where you need to work on it, because that's very important for you in the long run. Now, as I told you in the beginning, some people believe that emotional intelligence cannot be learned. But then there are 3 ways to improve your emotional intelligence. First thing is control your stress. There are so many ways to control your stress. Because I have discussed about attitude of gratitude, which keeps you in a positive mental state, I chose that because this works really well. Say thank you in the morning and say thanks in the night before going to bed. I think it works wonders. Just try doing it. And I thank you sincerely for sharing your time. Clean up. Clean up your sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene, what does it mean? Yeah, just have this regular timings of sleeping. Just ensure that you get enough rest. With a groggy brain, you cannot really work well. When you're tired, your brain does not work well. There are proteins which are accumulated in your neurons, and these proteins are detoxed when you are sleeping. When you don't get enough sleep, the detoxing of those proteins doesn't happen, and you may not have a good day. And you might be cranky, hangry, and everything, and you might be shouting at people, and then the whole session of emotional intelligence, you know where it goes. Now, reduce caffeine intake after noon. Caffeine has very long half-life, so it is good not to take it after the noon so that you have a good sleep. These are the 3 ways to improve your EI. And summary and takeaway. Lala, I'm sure you must be thinking, we heard so much, Kamakshi. When are you going to end? Just bear with me. We are almost done. I'll put you into these rooms where you can actually do a bit of work before we leave. We still have almost 14 minutes. We have learned about EI and its components. That is self-acceptance, self-regulation, and then comes motivation. And what is the other one? I'm sure you know it. Empathy and social skills. Yes, we have covered it all. And the role of emotional intelligence in setting goals and achieving them, and 3 ways to improve your emotional intelligence. These are the things which we have learned today. Now we'll put you into the rooms, and then this, like when you're put into those rooms, the idea is you need to discuss with your partners, whoever is put with you into the rooms. You need to discuss three things. What are the three things you have learned from this session? Please write down. Unless you write it down and consciously tell yourself this is what you have learned, you will not remember. So three things you have learned, two things you liked, and one thing you want to put into practice right away, take action right away. I'll repeat. Three things you have learned in the session, two things you like the most, and one thing which you will put into practice right away. So these are the things I want you to discuss in the rooms. What are these rooms called? Just excuse me. More. So I request Vani Shankar to make these rooms. Breakout rooms, please. Okay. come back to the room so that I can do an activity, please? So that they can settle there and then I can leave the session for them. A last small activity, I request all the participants to be with me.
Okay, just it takes 2 minutes for them to come back. Hold on.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. So are the participants back?
Yes.
Yep. Because for some reason I'm unable to see the panel anyways. So thanks everyone. Before I conclude this session, I just thought I'll give you a small 5-minute creative visualization. So this creative visualization, what your brain perceives or what your mind perceives can turn into physical reality. This is one of the ways where we can really imagine ourselves as the ideal selves, the best of ourselves, and achieve it. Did you ever go to a party very well dressed and you know that you will get compliments from people saying that you look good or your hair looks good or such a nice watch? You must have thought of it even before starting from home. And then you're surprised that whatever you thought in your mind is exactly the kind of compliments you got when you went to the party. You haven't told any one of them that these are the compliments you were expecting. How did they know? Because you have perceived it in your mind and you have created it and visualized it unknowingly, and that has happened. So, this is called creative visualization, which I'm going to take you through. And I will leave you with the creative visualization, and you can stay there for some time. It's up to you. So, let me start. Please take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Gently relax. Just keep imagining whatever I tell you to imagine. This is your day. You're completely relaxed and deeply connected to yourself. From the top of your head till the tip of your toe, you're gently relaxed. Now imagine that you've been called for a birthday party. They said you're the most important person in their life. So one of your friends called you saying that you're very important to them and invited you for the birthday party. And they insisted that you must be there. So you dressed up in the best of your attire because the person who called you is one of your best friend and you could not say no. It's a long-standing relationship. And you put the best perfume you have. You looked into the mirror a couple of times to see how handsome or beautiful you look. And then you set for the birthday party in your huge car. Then you reach the destination. Imagine it's a huge luxury hotel. You always wanted to go there. And then the car stopped just in front of this hotel and you got down. Your friend has come running to you, hugged you, and said thanks so many times for coming for the birthday party. And then you have seen all these small young kids coming and giving you bouquets. You thought because you're the important guest, you were given those bouquets. But it's a small surprise to you. And then you started walking towards the hall where this birthday is being celebrated. And your friend says, because you're important, please come on to the podium. And you graciously go on to the podium along with your friend. And as you walk through, you're surprised to see your family and friends too, and your grandchildren, and many other people whom you knew from your same faith, from your work. Your school friends were there. Then it's such a happy feeling, but at the same time, you're surprised. And then it's a real surprise because it's your 80th birthday party. And then it's celebrated 1 month ahead just to surprise you. It's such an awesome feeling. Don't you feel? You're thrilled to see all the classmates from your school, college, the colleagues who worked with you, the people from the same faith where you have practiced, the same religious faith or whatever faith you have followed. You see all these important people, and you have your siblings, their families, their grandchildren. You have everyone who are so important to you, and you haven't thought about any of this. You have a thin line of tear in your eyes. You gently walk. Now you understand. You're 80. You have all the wrinkles on your face, which are brought by age and maturity. Now you sit on the huge chair, which is well decorated, and there comes your spouse. And then you start looking at the people and you're filled with gratitude. You're looking around. There is so much gratitude in your heart for all the journey you have started, for all the hardships you faced. But then you are the hero of your story, irrespective whether you are a female or a male. You have written your story very well. First comes your spouse, or your son, or your daughter. It's up to you to choose. What is that they need to speak about you? What kind of a father, mother, what kind of a friend? When each one of these friends and family members, your grandchildren and great grandchildren, they come onto the podium to speak about you and thank you for being a part of their life. What are the qualities you want to see in yourself? What kind of a father, kind of a mother, what kind of a teacher, what kind of a colleague, what kind of an employee or an employer? Were you empathetic? Did you hold your relationship tight and strong? Were you warm hearted? So imagine that big yourself. This is your party. And you're such a wonderful human being. You add so much meaning to the lives of everyone who is around you. You always add it. Stay there. Please stay there and enjoy all the compliments you're receiving for what you are. But that is your future. It is good and great, filled with gratitude and joy. Stay there as long as you want. For you are much bigger than what you really think. It's just that one step at a time is what it takes you there. You are on this beautiful journey, and I'm your co traveler. It's nice having you in my session, but stay with yourself and come back when you're ready. I'm waiting here. Gently open your eyes. Don't be in a rush. Just bring yourself together. And thank you so much for sharing your time. This concludes my session.
Thank you, Kamakshi. If anyone has any
Can
question,
you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. Thank you everyone for joining. Hope this session was beneficial and practically useful to all of you. If you have any questions or suggestion, you can put it in the chat window. We can, or any improvements we can do for any other future session we conduct, that would be helpful. We'll stay here for another 2-3 minutes if there are any questions. If not, thank you very much for joining and look forward for the next meeting soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Kamakshi.
Thanks, Atul.